Good day, greeting learners. My name is Mr. Mayo, a mathematics teacher from Lejweleputswa Secondary School in the Lejweleputswa Education District. Today we are going to discuss an important topic, algebraic expressions. And under algebraic expressions, our focus will be on factorization of trinomials. The general term of quadratic trinomial is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus or minus c. When we talk of a trinomial, we are talking of an algebraic expression that has three terms. The first term, the second term, and the last term. So ax squared represents our first term. This is our first term, and then bx represents our middle term. We call this one a middle term. And then c is our last term. This is our last term. Now, great learners, it is expected of you to factorize three types of quadratic trinomials. The first type is in the form of x squared plus or minus bx plus c, whereby the value of a is equals to positive 1. That is type number 1 of a trinomial that you are expected to factorize. Now when you check the coefficient of x squared, we are having 1. It means for all these types of trinomials, for type number 1, we'll always have a value of a as positive 1, and the value of c will always be positive. Type number 2, we have x squared plus or minus bx minus c, where the value of a is also equals to 1. This one is type number 2. We have type 2. And the last type is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus or minus c. In this type, the value of a will be different from positive 1. This is type number 3. We have type number 3 of our quadratic trinomial. So let us recap. The first one, we will recognize it with a positive value of c and the coefficient of a being equal to positive 1. And then type number 2, we will recognize it with a negative value of c, but still with the coefficient of x squared being positive 1. And then the last type, which is type number 3, we can either have positive or negative c, but the main thing is that the value of a can never be equal to positive 1. Now for today, learners, our focus will only be on type number 1. Today we are only going to focus on type number 1, whereby the value of a is equals to positive 1 in our respective trinomial, and the value of c is positive. That will be our focus for today. Type 1, x squared plus or minus bx plus c. Let's look at the following examples. Example 1, factorize x squared plus 2x plus 1. Suppose we are given this trinomial x squared plus 2x plus 1. So we know it is type number 1. How do we recognize that it is type number 1? We look at the coefficient of x squared. The coefficient of x squared is positive 1. And the value of c is positive 1. So this is type number 1, like we have discussed the three types of trinomials. Now in this instance, when you factorize your trinomial, you will follow the following steps. Step 1, we must find the factors. We must find the factors of positive 1. Now the factors of positive 1 is 1 and 1. Those are the factors of positive 1. Step 2, we must select the factors and the signs that would equal the middle term, that would equal the middle term of our trinomial. Then the last step, we complete the brackets and we also check. Step 1, we find the factors of 1. The one that we are referring to is this one. So we are finding the factors of 1, which is 1 and 1. Step number 2, we select the factors and the signs that would equal the middle term. In other words, we are referring to the coefficient of the middle term. The last step, we complete the brackets and we also check. So step number 1, we already have the factors. We have to move now to step number 2, whereby we select the factors, but you don't only select the factors, they go hand in hand with the signs. In other words, we choose the factors and the signs that would equal the middle term. Now, what are we going to do? It means we will now say positive 1, which is this factor here, plus positive 1. My factors must be in a way that when I add them or subtract them, they give us the coefficient of the middle term, which is positive 2. So we have positive 1 plus positive 1, then we get positive 2. And the last step now, we must complete the brackets and we also check. So we'll start with equal sign because now we are factorizing our trinomial. We have the 2 brackets that we must complete according to step 3. For us to get x squared, it means in our brackets we need to have x and also x. Now in completing our brackets, already here we have selected the factors as well as the signs. So these factors, they already have the signs. These signs, we take them as they are to our trinomial and then we factorize. It means we have plus 1. This is the first positive 1. And we also have the last one, positive 1. And this is our factorized trinomial. But the last step says now we must check. By checking, we mean the following. When we say we have to check on step number 3, we are saying you can just use a rough page and then you check the correctness of your factorization. When we check, it means these factors of x plus 1, they must be in such a way that when we multiply binomial, multiply by binomial, we must get our original trinomial, which is x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now let us test that using FOIL method. X multiplied by x, we will get x squared. X multiplied by positive 1, we will get positive 1x. Positive 1 multiplied by positive x, we get positive 1x. And then positive 1 multiplied by positive 1, we get positive 1. We identify the like terms. We do have the like terms The like terms is positive 1 as well as positive 1. Now when we add those like terms, we will now have x squared plus 2x plus 1. So when we multiply binomial and binomial, we are getting our original trinomial, which is x squared plus 2x plus 1. It means now we have a right to say these factors are correct, x plus 1 and x plus 1. That is the first example. Example 2, let's factorize x squared plus 8x plus 15. We are given a trinomial of type 1. Now we know the steps at the moment, so we find the factors of 50. The factors of 50. The first pair we can have 15 and 1. The second pair we can have 5 and 3. That is step number 1. Step number 1 says we must find the factors of the last term. So our last term here is 15. It means we find the factors of 15 according to step 1 of our factorization. The second step, we must select the factors and the signs that will equal the middle term. So the middle term, our coefficient is positive 8. So we look at the factors that we have there. With the factors that we have, the only factors that will assist us is positive 5, positive 3. We select positive 5 and positive 3 because they will give us a coefficient of positive 8. So we have our coefficient which is positive 8. Now remember what we said about the selection of our factors and the signs. These signs will go to our brackets when we complete. So let's factorize. We will now have two brackets, x multiplied by x. Our sign there is positive 5. So we have positive 5 and we also have positive 3. We have factorized our trinomial. And then the last step is to check. When you check, we said when you multiply this binomial with the second binomial, you must get the original trinomial. So let's check on a rough page. When you check, you just use a rough page. X plus 5 multiplied by x plus 3. We are testing here. X multiplied by x, we have x squared. X multiplied by positive 3, we have positive 3x. Positive 5x multiplied by x, we have positive 5x. Positive 5 multiplied by positive 3, we have positive 15. There are like terms, and our like terms is positive 3x and 5x. Now we add the 2. We have x squared plus 8x plus 15. We are getting our original trinomial when we multiply x plus 5 and x plus 3. That simply means that your factorization is correct. Now when you multiply the two binomials and you don't get the original trinomial, it means there is a mistake either in terms of the signs or in terms of the factors. This is why now you have to select again the correct signs as well as the correct factors. Example 3. Example 3, suppose we are given a trinomial x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then we are required to factorize. Step 1, we are looking at the factors of 1. factors of 1, we have 1 and 1 according to step number 1. Step number 2, after finding the factors, we have to select the factors and the signs that will give the coefficient of the middle term. The coefficient of the middle term is -2. So we continue with step number 2. We have -1. -1 will give us -2. Then we have to complete the brackets according to step 3. Step 3, x, the issue of the signs, like we said, is very important. These signs will go to our brackets. X minus 1, and then we have x minus 1. Step 1 and step 2 is completed. Now the last step is to check. We go to our rough page. Now we are checking our factors. We check the what? The correctness here. We are checking the correctness of our factorization. We have x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. X multiplied by x, we have positive x squared. Positive x multiplied by -1, we have -1x. -1 multiplied by x, we have -1x. The last one, -1 multiplied by -1, we are getting positive y. We identify the like terms. We do have the like terms. -1 and -1 are our like terms. Our trinomial will result is x squared. -1, we have -2 plus 1. So it means these factors are correct. Now we have a right to say this is our final answer for that factorization, because when we multiply this binomial and the second binomial, we get our original trinomial that was given to us. We can proceed to example 4. Example 4. We are given x squared minus 6x plus 9. This is our trinomial. The focus is the last term. Our last term is positive 9. Now we go to step number 1. Step 1, we have to find the factors. The factors of positive 9. We have to find the factors of positive 9. Let's find those factors. We have 9 and 1. The first pair. The second possible pair, 3 and 3. That step 1 is completed. We have find the factors. Now the step number 2, we have to select the factors and the signs that will give the middle term, which is the coefficient of x. Our middle term here is -6. So we have 9 and 1. When you look at 9 and 1, it will not assist us to get -6. The reason is because if we say positive 9 and positive 1, we will get positive 10. And then when we say -9, -1, we will get -10. If we say positive 9 minus 1, we will get positive 8. So this does not assist us to get the middle term. So this will not assist us. So we will now use pair number 2, the second pair. Now on the second pair, we have to select the factors. I'm selecting these ones. -3 and -3. They will give me -6. -6. Now we have to conclude to step 3. Step 3, we are now factorizing. We complete the brackets. We are having 2 brackets. For us to get x squared, it means we have to have x and x. Now the other thing that is important is that these selected factors and the signs that appear here will be the ones that we use in our brackets. So we have -3, -3, and -3. Then step 1 is completed because we have identified the factors. Step 2, we have selected the signs and the factors that will give us the coefficient of the middle term, which is -6. The last step is to check. Now when we check, we don't write here, but we write on our rough page. We are checking. We said when we check, if we say this binomial multiplied by this binomial, they must give us our original trinomial. Let us check. We are having x minus 3 multiplied by x minus 3. Now I'm multiplying x multiplied by positive x. We are having positive x squared. And then positive x multiplied by -3. We are having -3x. -3 multiplied by positive x, we have -3x. -3 multiplied by -3, we get positive 9. We identify our like terms. Yes, we do have the like terms there, -3x and -3x. This simplifies to x squared minus 6x plus 9. The minute we get our original trinomial, then we know that our factorization is correct. Then we accept this factorization of our trinomial. The activity learner's activity is the following. Factorize the following. The first one, x squared plus 5x plus 6. The second one, x squared plus 9x plus 20, x squared minus 11x plus 18. Number 4, x squared minus 13x plus 42. Learners, this will be your activity for factorization of type number 1. With that being said, that will be the end of our lesson for today. Next time we will discuss factorization of type 2 as well as type 3. Thank you very much.